This episode will help you win clients' trust, solve their problems, and boost sales. I know it's a tall order, but hang with me here. You'll learn how industry leaders use NAFA certifications and the Clean Air Award to solve their clients' real world problems. It was recorded live at the 2022 annual convention in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Enjoy.
You're listening to the Talking Air Filtration podcast, where you get to know the people that make air filtration possible and help us all breathe easier. Because clean air matters.
We'll get insights from air filtration professionals and learn how they became successful in their careers. Along the way, we will discuss best practices, guidelines, trends, and challenges in air filtration in a variety of applications. We hope HVAC, air filtration, and indoor air quality pros, including business development, engineering, building owners, and facilities management, will enjoy the insights our guests will bring to this podcast.
In short, with all this renewed interest, we need a refresher on the tools that can help you. How many certified air filtration specialists are there in this room? By a show of hands. Awesome. Okay. How many NCTs are there in this room? One or two? Okay, good amount. How many have personally submitted a Clean Air Award at any time? An even smaller number, but still good. Okay. After the session, you guys, for those of you that don't know or haven't participated yet in any of these tools, you will know what these tools are and exactly how to use them. And I won't be telling you, it will be these two pros seated right here. I picked these people mainly because they, over the last few years, they have been the biggest drivers of activity and with great effect using these NAFA tools. They also were the first two to return my phone calls. So thank you guys for, otherwise this has been a really lonely speech. I'll let them introduce themselves, starting with Sharon. But if you can just tell us who you are, what you do, and how long you've been with NAFA.
Thanks everybody for joining us. So my name's Sharon Needham, and I am the Regional Sales Manager with BGE Indoor Air Quality Solutions, and I work out of the Calgary office. So I'm not sure how long I've been a member with NAFA. It's got to be probably 8 to 10 years or whatever. I've been in the business over 11 years. And yeah, so I've been in sales for the last 10 years probably, and about 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to move into a regional sales manager role. So now I oversee a staff of 9 salespeople in Western Canada. So it's me.
Excellent.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks everybody for being here. My name is Will Denton. I'm with the Joe Fly Company. I've been with Joe Fly for 17 years, and I think I attended my first NAFA meeting first month I was an employee. So this is, I think, my 17th year of being a member of NAFA as well. I tend to focus on a little bit of the operational side of the business as well as the sales. So I get to dabble in both, which has been great. And thank you all for making the trip up here or down here, depending on where you're coming from, and enjoying it. So thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right. So as I mentioned, these are the first two pros, but they are not the only pros in this room. So I encourage any of you guys that have any feedback or input that you can support, raise your hand. You don't have to wait for Tony to run with the microphone. Just shout it out to me and I can repeat what you say. And especially for the newbies, there's not a better time to ask the questions you have because you have an entire room here of people that can get you a quick answer. So first up, Certified Air Filter Specialist. We call it CAFS or CAFS. This question is for Will. What is it?
Okay, so the CAFS certification, as Brandon said, is a Certified Air Filtration Specialist. It's basically a test that you'll take to get a certification that are the basic principles of air filtration. It is kind of the benchmark of what we think everybody in this industry should know. As we know, technology changes, the industry changes, so it's a living test or living document that's always being improved upon, so there's always more to learn from it. But from our standpoint, it's special to NAFA because it differentiates ourselves and our members from others that are not involved. And ultimately, we want to be a kind of a guide into the air filtration space for customers and end users about how to better improve their indoor air quality, protect their equipment, and just overall have better indoor health in their facility. And by taking the CAFS test, studying it, I think they've added more chapters since I've probably taken it. You can really learn, again, just filters 101 is kind of how I would refer to it as.
And you mentioned a guide, which is great because that's exactly, excuse the infomercial plug here. This is exactly what the book is. It's the NAFA Guide to Air Filtration. And Terry has it right out the door for, I think, 3 easy payments in $19.99. It was just updated in 2021. So talk about being a living document, and it's the people in this room that contributed to it. So this is not just some outside source. This is something that we grow organically here. And it's from this book and from Jim Rosenthal's fantastic classes right before the test, where you get about 100 questions, I think. And I think it's a certain 70%, 75. You guys did that in college. You can hit that mark of correct answers, and you become certified. And you keep that certification yearly, right?
Yes, and one thing to add is, again, they offer the in-person test at both the tech and the annual seminar.
Okay.
And working with NAFA and AMPT, we're finding ways to make this test more accessible to distributors and manufacturers and any members or affiliates of NAFA, so that you don't necessarily have to attend a conference to be able to take the test. And so that's up and coming. We should have a lot more avenues for you and your staff to get certified, which is going to be exciting.
So now we know what the certification is. How do you use it with Joe Flag Co. internally, externally? What's the value or the benefit that you see to it, and why you use it?
I think there's an internal and an external, obviously, benefit to having a CAFS certification. I think internally, getting your employees the basic knowledge of air filters. I mean, it's not an industry that everyone's familiar with, but those of us here in this room know there's a lot to it. Most people just think of the filter in their house that they're used to seeing. So giving your sales team or anyone in your office an advantage of kind of knowing more than the other person, bringing value to somebody by educating them on the principles of air filtration is very important. So that's internally. We want all of our employees at our company to have gone through this test and certification just as a benchmark standard. I kind of compare it to the real estate license. If you're going to go sell houses, you should have the basic understandings of contracts and how to do that. And this is kind of our license, I would so to speak. And then externally, when you're speaking to customers or end users, they have trust that you've gone through this certification process. So when you are looking at their equipment and you're talking to them about what they're trying to achieve, whether it's improving the indoor air quality, lowering their energy costs, better protecting their equipment, labor costs, whatever it is, you've got the basic understandings of how to do that. And you can teach them what you know.
Yeah. And that the trust is a big point. I can attest. This is a 16-chapter book, and the manufactured products that we sell don't go past chapter 3 as a metal filter manufacturer. But taking that test was still important for me because I have a lot of people that will ask me questions that I either didn't know before taking the test, or couldn't help them myself. But being able to refer them and calling back on this book to be able to say, I know what I don't know, and I know where you should look and who you should contact. And especially being in NAFA, even competitors become resources. And I think that's really what this is all about. This book doesn't specify which product, which company you should use. It's the industry standard. And I think that's the important key about it, is that anybody can take it. And you don't have to manufacture everything that you're being tested for in this book to just know about it. And I found that valuable for me.
Yeah.
So
I was just going to add.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like one of the things that I think is really great about it is it gives your sales team the ability to look for opportunity and diagnose, customers' problems. And so, whether it's a retrofit, increasing MERV ratings, or, energy savings, like you're saying, it gives them the knowledge to be able to make recommendations and be confident in them.
awesome.
Solution sales is what
Yeah.
it'll give your team, which is a big advantage in this market to not just be a me too, I've got the same product kind of sales company.
Right.
And I would not go so far as say, would that be your pro tip? Is use it as a consultative option, or you can read your notes.
That
on
probably would have been a better pro tip than what's up there. But
Can't see this one.
so
I wrote it for
we
him.
all know that sales reps are not motivated by money, so this wouldn't be a good thing for them. But in all honesty, we've used the CAFS certification as a benchmark for future earnings. So if we're bringing on a new sales rep, maybe you've got a commission model in your company, but they can earn X amount of commission, and then if they get their certification, they can reach that full max capacity. I think we have to incentivize our employees to get it, and a lot of them, if it's tied to their compensation plan or future earnings, it's a good way to kind of say you can't really sell for us until you've got your license, so to speak, or your certification or basic understandings, and kind of unlocking that earnings potential in your sales reps, whether it's tied to, bonuses, commission, base salary, however y'all do it, you can kind of give them that carrot to strive for and something to work towards.
They talk about employee retention, and something that sparked in me. We have an inside sales manager that we just groomed, and I think part of the buy-in, not just financially, but I'm going to recommend him take the CFS. And if you're looking for ways outside of just financial, somebody who takes the CFS test, they're showing a sense of buy-in that is, there's a cost for the test, but the hope is that they don't get the CFS test and then leave the industry. And that's hopefully an opportunity for them to stay with you as they rise in the ranks and they have more initials at the end of their name.
Yeah. I think as a sales rep too, when I started in this industry and like someone phoned me and asked for some type of filter my first day, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, so the thing is to give the sales reps, the tools and the knowledge to be able to feel more confident.
Yeah.
Like it's scary going to work every day and not knowing what people are asking you for. So
Sure.
if this is a tool that we can, give our team to help them understand, it makes them more confident as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, then we can just lead right into hand in hand with CAFS. There's NCT, so NAFA Certified Technician, and there's two levels to this. And I'll ask the same question to you. What is this, and how are you guys using it? And I'll flash the book that it's used in.
Sure. So unlike the CAFS certification, which is the basic principles of air filtration, the NCT, which is the NAFA Certified Technician training, is the proper installation procedures for installing any and every type of air filter, whether it's a pleated filter, high efficiency, or HEPA, and just the basic understandings of how those filters need to fit and go into the equipment. Level 2 is for the installation of filters in containment housings and bag out housings and how to properly do that. And so that's kind of the next level. But what's great about the NCT program is it's very easy to implement within your service staff. So while CAFS certification, I highly recommend your sales reps get certified in both CAFS and in NCT, because we want our guys out in the field diagnosing issues out in the equipment. For all your service techs that are out installing filters, have them go through the basic NCT training so that they, again, see that you're investing in them, and then they know what they're looking for and how to properly install filters. And more importantly, noticing problems in currently installed filters. If you're going to survey a new facility, bringing up some solutions with what they found on the roof or mechanical room, that equipment. This is an online test, open book, very affordable in the sense of what we charge to get guys certified. And again, it's that buy-in. And so one thing we want to do, and I would love to tell you we've already done this, but it's in our plans, is we have a couple levels of how we rank our service techs, whether they're a helper, an assistant, or a lead tech. But I would love to see our company in the future require an NCT certification for any lead tech that's going out on the job site. They get the badges from NAFA they can put on their service shirts. It's just a great program. I think it's very underutilized. We don't have near enough of our service techs who have done it, and that's simply because of time. We're trying to find the time when they can sit down and do this, but it's definitely something we want to implement. And so, again, I could speak about it for a little bit, but I'll pass it over.
Sure. No, and not to cut you off, Shane, Don gave us the best alley-oop. You're talking about training employees and creating the content. NAFA's created the content for you right here in this book. And so this is a step-by-step guide. And again, it's not product or company specific. It doesn't pigeonhole you into anything. It's best practices that it can be used around the industry. And if you're differentiating yourself from a competitor that's not part of NAFA, that may not be looking at the quality of the installation, this is a great way to certify that, to stand out in that noisy crowd. And so I don't know if you had experience with NCT.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so I actually took my NCT before my CAFS,
Oh, wow.
and I found it really valuable. I think any salesperson, if they have the opportunity, should take it as well. But the other thing about it too is you don't have to come to a conference if you have someone within your organization that can offer the course to you. So it's not so overwhelming to suddenly now you're coming to a conference for the first time and you're trying to take everything in and you have an exam to write. You're writing it amongst your peers in your own organization, and it's a great course for salespeople. Like you said, they're in units. It gives them the basics of what they should be looking at. So.
Okay.
Filters installed properly don't do much good, as we know. So it's a very important aspect of our job and the value and partnership level that we're giving to our customers. So it's as important as CAFS, in my opinion, and a lot easier to obtain. And again, for the masses, for your company to be able to do it on a big blanketed level.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, I'll do a quick pause here. Is there any newbies or members that want to contribute here? Go ahead and raise your hand about the CAFS or NCT. Any questions? Go ahead, Patrick.
So we have a lot of customers that we've offered the NCT test for, and for them, building operators or whatever, it's great for them. I think sometimes they may even get a pay increase because they've taken the test.
Sure.
And so it's great for our customers to offer that NCT as well.
Well, to add to that, 479 active NCT, how many are non-members?
I didn't get that deep into the weeds there, but Tony will. He's a great mathematician on Google Docs. But I did not get that, but that was the total number on that. And I'll pull you aside after, and I can give you that.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because, and to elaborate what Sharon's saying, it is a great program for our non-members, the people that, because we're, as a group, we're not doing all the filter service. Exactly. How do we maximize the program to the non-members? Is there something in place to advertise, market?
No, but that's a discussion that we actually had a great committee meeting this morning in membership and marketing, and that's something that could be added to that, is especially when you're talking about expanding your network and growing your reach without having to add the employees and having to add your own service staff. That is a huge value add, and it also creates a trusted partner network within your local service area. And I think that's great for retention of your contractor business and the service tech. So I think there's work that could be done there. To answer your question directly, I think making that more visible to NAFA, I think would help. Thanks for another committee meeting agenda item. But no, that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, I think because we train these or we offer this NCT, and then we have these customers out there, and then how are we following up with them year after year to make sure that they're remaining certified? So I'd be curious too, how many people are actually renewing it each year as well?
Sure. Now next we're going to move on to Clean Air Awards, and I'm proud to say that Sharon and her team at BG&E are all stars at this, and I think they turned in over 30 of the awards this year, and so there's a lot to be learned, and I'm excited to hear. But first, Sharon, thank you for coming out. And what is the Clean Air Award?
Yeah, so the Clean Air Award it's an award that that's based on a point system, and it's an award that you can offer. You can nominate a facility which wants to be recognized for leadership in filtration and indoor air quality. So I've done a lot of them through the years. I've had great success with it. My customers love the award. I've primarily did it in the commercial market. That's where I've had the most success. I've also moved out to post-secondary and universities as well. They really are happy with the award. But I think especially this year, with all the upgrades that people have done, I think the opportunities are endless with the type of businesses or facilities that you could nominate. So you think of a long-term care facility, how great would that be to see the NAFA Clean Air Award on the door when you're opening it, right? So
the actual point system itself, I threw that slide in there as well. Yeah, it's actually 10 total. It's like a survey checklist, and there's 10 main questions. There, I just put three of them up there. And again, it doesn't point. None of these questions are pigeonholed. There's not a requirement, but you hit the 52 points, and there's all these different ways to hit that mark depending on the application that you're surveying. And you can see the numbering system that goes there. And you hit 52, turn it into NAFA, and they receive an award. And what type of award is it? That's given? Yeah,
so the first year they get a nice trophy, and then in the second year when you renew for them, you get a plaque, a nice wood plaque with a certificate. And then once you renew each year, then you just get the certificate. So then they send you an updated certificate each year after your renewals are in. So yes, people are thrilled with their trophies.
Are your air filtration personnel NAFA certified? Ask if they belong to NAFA and have their Certified Air Filter Specialist or NAFA Certified Technician designations. The CAFS and NCT designations are earned after rigorous exams and demonstrate that the air filtration professional has a high degree of knowledge and professionalism. To learn more about NAFA certifications, visit nafahq.org.
Well, I got to imagine too, especially in Canada. I know one of the biggest reasons we believe that, especially post-COVID, is attracting those occupants back into the building. And this is one of the tools I feel like, especially in Canada. Maybe that's one reason I've been kicking butt out there is to market that as a building and say, we're doing the best we can. Here's our best practices and on display. I think that talking about building trust. I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, I think so. The thing is, when we do this when we go through the program with our customer, it definitely solidifies our partnerships with our customers and the buildings involved. We all talk about a customer for life, and yesterday they talked about sharing experiences. So, going through this experience of the program with your customer, I think it makes them very loyal to you and they appreciate that business. And I think it's another thing too, when they move on. They may move to another facility or to another building, and they're going to go, hey, I want that for this building now too. So you've created that trust with them, and they want to continue to work with you after you've spent the time going through the award together. So, yeah.
And the biggest value, did you see out in the field there, Joe Flacco at all?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of wanted to say something else. This is probably the most underutilized program that NAFA offers. That is probably one of the most impactful things you can do for your customers and the industry, because all the guidelines that we've spent writing forever for every industry, if these facilities and end users follow those guidelines, they'll qualify for these clean air awards. And you're giving them recognition that they're going above and beyond the standards that most people are doing to provide basically better indoor environmental health for their customers, their employees, their whatever they're trying to protect inside that building. But yeah, we've seen this as not only a great way to market our company, but also market NAFA. Because when these facilities, when you go give them their award and you give them the recognition, the first thing those people do is they go either show their boss or they start telling all the tenants in their buildings, like, look what we've done. We're here to be a good partner for you guys and protect you. Then they start advertising it, and they're putting it in their newsletters, or they're calling their local. We've had them call local newspapers where they've been in the spotlight. It recognizes our company, it recognizes NAFA, and it recognizes their company. I mean, it's a great opportunity. They're easy to get in terms of if these customers are doing, or these buildings are doing just the basics to improve on things. And so, you'll get into the numbers here of what we've done. I don't want to take that thunder from you, but
that's fine.
We need to pump them up.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Sharon, how do you attribute the success to?
Yeah. So the thing is, it's retention of customers and growth within those accounts. When you're going through the process of trying to get them, the points, it helps you identify opportunities and solutions, and you really become that trusted advisor for your customer. But it's a valued added service that we offer to our customers that your competitor may not be offering that service. So that's a huge thing for you as well, as that differentiates you. And the other thing is that I was going to say about this is, sales and operations teams, they don't get recognized very often, and they're very proud of what they do, a lot of them. So it's great for them to say, here's some recognition for your team, your operations team. So I think currently you have to be a CAFS to nominate a building, but one of the points is if you have an NCT on staff for the customer, that's a point system on the award as well. Is that what you were referring to, or?
Yeah, I guess so. I know that there is a company out there that is, pretty prevalent in nominating these things that do not have a CAFS on staff.
Having come from AAF for 15 years before I've been with Micropore, I'm almost into my third decade here, and I'm not CAFS certified. But that came from the mentality, I think, of some of the large manufacturers. And we've had some conversations this week where, as a manufacturer, we're guilty of not investing or taking advantage of what NAFA can offer to our people as an investment for their growth, how we can help people retain customers. Sharon, you nailed it on the head, that, this is a tool by which NAFA is willing to train your employees about ongoing changes and what is happening in the industry. And it's also an opportunity to bring your end users in, involve them in the Clean Air Awards, get somebody NCT certified at the end user level that's not necessarily a member of NAFA, but there's all these opportunities that, being on the membership marketing committee with Brandon for the last year, we need to take better advantage of. So I think it's a great opportunity. And having worked for manufacturers my whole career, we as manufacturers are guilty of not investing back into the organization because it's a great tool.
Until now. Great segue. I promise you we didn't schedule that. But for the longest time, this still is a primary, this is a distributor's award. And we have 160 distributors as of the latest reading this year. And so this is an award for distributors to work with their end users. It's a reason to make a sales call. It's a reason to survey their application year after year. But we have a third of the membership manufacturers, like myself, like Jeff, have had until last year no connection. It didn't matter to us. Whenever they talked about a Clean Air Award, we went and got coffee. No longer is that the case. In fact, this was former Chair Will's effort and working with the board and massaging the idea. There is now, as one of the 10 questions, there's an installed products, and I'll read it very quickly, that utilize air filters or air filtration products manufactured by a NAFA manufacturing member. And so again, it doesn't specify that it has to be a specific product or a specific company, but what it does do is it brings in the manufacturers into the discussion, and it gives the manufacturers a sales call. And I remember in the first year that it's been done, Will called me in one of his upgrades, and I can't remember if it was the Type 8 frame or if it was a HEPA holding frame, but it included the replacement of that, and we manufacture those. And so he was able to call me and say, hey, I'm working on a Clean Air Award. Can you help me out? I made sure that we hit the specs on whatever that RFP was, and it was a great sales call. I think that for any manufacturer here, if you're looking for a reason to call a distributor on the NAFA list, one of the questions could be, hey, you working on any Clean Air Awards I can help you out with? Here's a new product that you may be able to use to upgrade a system. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a great use, and we hope that it used. We hope it brings in the manufacturers into the discussion. It's not a manufacturer award, but at least they're part of it now, and now it's a full team effort.
Yeah, I mean, y'all can get the recognition though, and for y'all's part and y'all's products going into the project, and how we were able to get that Clean Air Award.
Sure.
And so it gives the distributor's name, and now you can recognize the manufacturer's name, and you're recognizing NAFA and NAFA members, and that's really what we're trying to do, as well as improve the indoor air quality in these facilities. But it's also we're marketing NAFA through this award, and people want to keep up with the Joneses. It's just the natural thing to do. If the hospital next door has a Clean Air Award and they don't, they're going to want one. So they're going to Google NAFA and figure out who a NAFA member is, and maybe contact them or call them and give a member the opportunity to go in there and get that sales call.
Yeah, I think it's important to have this conversation with your customers. And by the way, like, Joe next door, I just got back from NAFA and they got a Clean Air Award. And they're like, what's that? Well, how do I get one? I want one. Building operations is a small industry, and it's quite a competitive industry too. So everybody wants their facility to be the best. So, a little healthy competition amongst your customers is great.
Yeah, and I think I won't say the manufacturer's name here, but that's one reason why they are now a part of NAFA, is they were losing bids to fellow NAFA members. And so wink, wink, thank you for that intel today. And so now they're here. And so it's less about how much of the pie can you get, and what about if you just grow the pie? And this is one way you can grow that pie and get it out there and have it work for you. With all that said, is there any other questions you guys may have about the Clean Air Award? Okay, great. And again, this was a record year, and so don't mean to be a wet blanket. That's fantastic, but we have plenty of room to grow. So with a quick dive, of those 77 awards, less than 7% of distributors participated in that award. So out of 160 members, distributors that qualified, only 11 turned them in. So there was a lot of high performers there. And so they're benefiting greatly from that. And so there's a reason why they're placing a value on that. And the question that NAFA wants to pose is, where can we help the other 150 members identify the needs that are stopping them from growing? And we're less than 10% on average per year participation rate, and I think 20% is a pretty easy goal for us to grow. And with minimal effort, we think we can hit that mark. Another look at the CAFS test, strong numbers and steady growth, but I looked at it, there's only 1.3 active CAFS members per member company. So I wonder what it would look like if there's just one more whole member in a company. And so there's only 0.7 of a person you got to find. And I looked at my small business, and I'm the only CAFS certified. And so my inside sales rep, and I'm hoping to try to get my lead CSR CAFS certified and try to hit that 2 mark for my small company. And that's the big ask we're gonna be asking you today. This is the hard hitting panel for 2023 planning. A lot of companies are here to start their year-end planning. The annual conference is a great way for businesses to do that. And so as you're considering what your sales goals are, what your operations goals are, consider CAFS for key sales and customer service teams. If you have on mind right now 1 or 2 people that have been with the company and that think can grow, consider CAFS as one of those goalposts for them to hit. Try NCT for any service techs or any local partners that you've been working with, and this solidifies the relationship. And then lastly, I threw out this number, and it can probably go up or down, but are there 2 customers on your customer list that you think would really benefit or would love to have that Clean Air Award? And I just wonder if 160 members called 2 people, and let's say only 50% delivered, we'd be at 160 Clean Air Awards next year and doubling our record this year with very minimal effort.
I want to add something. I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse here. I'm pretty good about doing that, though, sometimes. And we discussed the Clean Air Award can be nominated throughout the year. So we're all used to having that deadline of have it done by August 1st, and that's the only time you can submit it. You can submit it anytime, and we're hoping that we'll be able to get them certified quickly after submission. So you don't have to wait at one time in the year and do all yours at once. So get on the website, go to the Clean Air program, get the form printed and to see what would qualify the point structure, and give it to your sales reps or give it to your CSRs and say, look at these. Do you have any customers that have been upgrading lately, especially since COVID? Most facilities can qualify for Clean Air Awards if they upgraded their filtration during COVID. And just put the challenge out there. It's good for your company. It's good for your customers. It's good for NAFA. And so.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that. Like, I think it needs to just be part of what you do. So it's part of your, at the beginning of the year, you're setting your goals for what your targets are or whatever. So set a goal for this. And as you're, going through your daily sales calls, keep that in your back of the mind. Hey, wait a minute. This is probably somebody that I could, get a Clean Air Award for. And the other thing is make it simple for your staff. Like, I'm not sure how other people submit theirs, but I have a PowerPoint, and it's the same template that I use, and I can, it's simple for me. It doesn't have to be a huge project, but yet, that PowerPoint, I can present it back to the customer. And as salespeople, we do a lot of good stuff for our customers, but we're not always great at showcasing it. So it's like, here, this is what I've done for you, and you can present it to their team, or even people, operations managers, property managers, whoever within the organization.
Yeah, when you showed me that was pretty cool. And talk about a differentiation tool that is pretty easy to plug and play. So
yeah,
and we're here not just for this session, but anybody that wants to pull us aside, ask a question to any one of us or anybody here that you see that's CAFS certified or NCT. Any more questions, we're happy to help, because at the end of the day, meeting attendance is great, but there's more that NAFA can do for you guys every single month outside of the meetings. And before you guys jump in and do the dirty work, just consider that we may have done the dirty work for you, and we're happy to share it. I'd first like to thank Will and Sharon for coming up, and appreciate the time, guys. So
thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Air Filtration Podcast, a production of the National Air Filtration Association. Clean air matters.